Thumbs up. Awesome. Hi, thanks for joining our Zoom meeting today with the faith-based organizations. My name is Aretha Simons. I'm the webinar producer here at TechSoup. This is being recorded, and everyone who's registered for the event will get the recording within 48 hours. When you watch it on our YouTube channel, please give it a like. And if you haven't subscribed, go ahead and subscribe to our YouTube channel. So if this is your first time here at our faith-based text connections, this is how we engage in the conversation today. I would love if everyone would be mindful to keep your mic on mute for the quality of the recording, and that so that everybody is not speaking of each other. At the end, after the presentation, or if you have a question, use the raise your hand option right there at the little screen where you see the little happy face. If you click on it, and it'll have different options, raise your hand, heart. Please, if you can, keep your comments or questions to about 1 minute so that everybody have an opportunity to speak. Oftentimes we do run out. If you need to use the closed caption, it is available. Turn on the CC button located in your Zoom menu. So I just have one quick announcement today. We want to be invited to your events. So if you have a conference coming up, we would love to have one of our members from TechSoup come and speak to your faith-based community about services that TechSoup can offer, products, software, free courses, free webinars. So we would love to be a featured speaker, a speaker. Contact Stephen Jackson. His email is sjackson@techsoup.org. You may want to take a screenshot of that. We'll put it in the chat room as well. We would love for you to become a featured speaker. We have a featured speaker today, and basically, what a featured slow down, Aretha. What a featured speaker is. See, this is live. You can't fake all this. What a featured speaker is someone who is in your community, right here in the faith-based community, who will come and share what they're doing to make a difference, what technology they're using to make a difference. So if you have an expertise outside of what you do that help nonprofits and you want to share, send me an email. I would love for you to share on our faith-based tech connection. Now, there's something exciting that I want to introduce to you. For the first time, we have developed a community called Quad. I'm going to put a link in the chat room. Actually, Andrew's going to put a link. It's a newly launched part of TechSoup, and this is for organizations who are providing food. A lot of you provide food to organizations. One second. And we want to bring you into a community where you can have a focus just on the products you need, talk about the software, the technology. It's a community just for you. So I'm going to share a little screenshot of this. If you want to take a screenshot, again, we're going to put the link in the chat room, and you can contact us to learn more. But it's basically a dedicated community to organizations, no matter what your mission is, to that provides food. But we are going to open it up to other organizations, so anyone is able to join Quad. So without further ado, I know it may seem confusing. I see some of your faces. Definitely want you to click on the link that we're going to share. I'm going to have our featured speaker because I want to focus on today what our topic is, and that is basically tools that you cannot grow without. Today, from our community, we have Clarence James. He is the Director of Technology for Living Word International Ministries. James, raise your hand. He likes to be called James, right? James. And so he is going to share what they did to transition during the pandemic, and what they're doing now to keep things going. James, before you get ready to share, I would love for everybody to answer this quick question from the poll. It's something I was asking, everybody was coming on. It's what technology and software are you using? Hardware or software are you using? I just put QuickBooks in there, Microsoft, just to give you some ideas, but type in the chat room which products that you are using that TechSoup offers. I know Microsoft is a big one, but there's some that I didn't put in there. So please type it in the chat room. And then I asked earlier, what software or hardware could TechSoup offer that would help your nonprofit? And I know someone had already put in the chat room one of the offers that I had never heard about. So we'll talk about that later. But what I want to do is go ahead and introduce James. James, thank you for being here, and thank you for sharing all your knowledge.
Thank you. Um, Actually, what I want to do, we're going to talk about the different technologies that are available and services. One of the first things I would say, though, with what we found, especially during the pandemic, the biggest resource we have is our own community. That's our biggest resource. One of the things that we were able to do during the pandemic, we actually have a ministerial association for our county. And within that association, we actually put together a team of tech professionals. Not so much that that was their only thing, but people who are willing to volunteer and say, hey, I understand how to work with this product. Over here, I understand how to work with this one. And then we just kind of reach out to each other and get product help and support, some of that training that we need. So that would be the first thing I would say. That's the thing we can't do without. And that's been a big, for lack of a better word, a blessing for us as a faith-based organization to be able to get that. So I did want today to just talk about some of the resources that we've been using during this to actually connect with our people. Of course, one of our biggest resources has been TechSoup and the products that we've been able to utilize from them. Microsoft 365 has been a game changer. With Microsoft 365, we're incorporating using Teams to help bring our stuff together, help with collaboration, some development, some planning. And then we also, in addition to Teams, we actually use Microsoft Planner within that. And the thing about whereas Teams has developed over the last few years, inside of Teams, they've made it available for you to actually bring those other resources into it. So my people now don't have to go out of Teams to use Planner. They can actually do that within it. And having the file share ability that's within Teams as well, even people who are not physically here and don't have organizational email accounts and access to our SharePoint, you actually can upload those files and things within Teams. So we're able to actually put that information in there and make it available. When we get ready to schedule our volunteers, we can upload the schedule sheets in Teams. And like I said, as they've kind of improved the resources, now with Teams, you can actually bring in people that don't have what they call organizational emails. So we can use their personal email and actually connect them. So everything that they need, even without having to go out and get the extra purchase Microsoft Office or anything, we can make that stuff available to them. So that's been really a big help. And of course, there's the Outlook and OneNote. One of the big things that I found with OneNote, the ability to not only recapture information, but to actually share that information. So we could actually take our OneNote. So whoever's an administrator for a meeting can take notes and just share the notes from OneNote. They don't have to go back, transcribe the notes, send that out to everybody. All of it's right there available. So it saves time. But like I said, the biggest thing is it's helped us to stay connected, especially as we kind of went through that first phase because we did shut down for a little while. And being able to keep people connected, Microsoft 365 was a big tool for that. And especially with the discount that we were able to get through TechSoup, we were able to get enough licenses so that each department actually has an email account that they could actually use. And it's not costing us an arm and a leg. So those were some big pluses that we found just with the Microsoft suite that we're able to use. So that was one of the tools that we were able to use. And there's a lot of them actually, so I'll probably kind of pause if you have questions so far. If you have questions, just feel free. But yeah, there's a lot of tools. So
Yeah, I like that, James. If you have a question, you want to use the raise your hand option to ask James a question. I see some comments in here. Kevin, who's with our Microsoft team, says great point regarding guests, an excellent way to collaborate. And I heard that partnership and collaboration. And Kevin, I would love if you don't have to come on camera, but if you would just tell them about the quickly about the Microsoft webinar and the Microsoft change real quick.
Hi, Aretha. I'll stay off camera because I'm still in morning mode here. Yeah, so we do on our team here in customer success, we do a monthly webinar series, virtual office hours, kind of going over items within 365 to the point there. We'd love to have you all join us. We've got an event Friday the 18th of this month. We're going to be going over add-ins as far as it relates to Microsoft features. As far as Microsoft programmatic changes, is that something you said you wanted me to touch on?
Yes, please.
Yeah, I can actually, it'd probably be best. I actually have a modified deck that I've made. I'd be more than happy to share that kind of visually goes over how distribution is going to work going forwards and changes to the discounted and donated programs. Rather than me ramble on, I think I could probably just get that deck to somebody. I'll post my email also in the chat if anyone wants to reach out to me directly.
Awesome. Thank you so much, Kevin. So anybody have any questions for James? I was writing so many notes down, James. The one thing you said, collaboration and partnership, you can't do without it. Feel free. I'm just talking until somebody uses their raise your hand options. All right, James, you go ahead and continue.
Okay. Yeah. So like I said, that's a big one. Another one of the products that we've really used a lot is Adobe, the Acrobat Pro. For a PDF, it's the one format that most people can use regardless of what type of device they're on. So we found that being able to put things in a PDF format and make them available has been a game changer. Doing fillable forms. So now people don't have to come to the office or download a form, fill it out, try to scan it back to us or fax it to us. We're able to use Adobe to actually create those fillable forms and make them available online. And again, TechSoup actually offers that at a discounted price. Any of you that actually have went out and looked at the cost of Adobe Acrobat Pro, you're talking about several $100s, but it actually is available on TechSoup for less than $100. And the features and availability, things that you're able to do with it, like I said, it's made a lot of things easier, even like our membership applications, our new member visitor forms, all those things we can make available online and fillable forms. So it's helped in that area. So we, even during the pandemic, we continue to have members joining and not even being physically here. And so that's another product that I think is, like I said, a game changer, really. If you are doing a lot of forms and that type of stuff, and even just information that you need to get out to people. One of the things we were doing was we were doing a lot of Word documents, but a lot of people now are using their smartphones, and it's a lot harder for them to work with Word documents on a smartphone. That PDF gives them that ability. So that's another product that for us was imperative for what we're doing now. With PDF, there is an alternative that I use. As a ministry, we use Adobe Pro, but there's also a program called Nuance Power PDF that gives you a lot of the same features. It has a little bit of a learning curve, but it is an alternative. And especially if you're not using TechSoup to get the discount, it's a much lower cost than the Adobe Acrobat Pro. But again, like I said, if you use TechSoup, that Acrobat Pro is actually cheaper than Nuance PDF if you use the TechSoup program to get it. So that's another option that's available. Some of the other things that we've had we've utilized during this time. I don't know how many of you maybe do presentations within your facilities or online. We do use ProPresenter. I wish we could get a discount on that. But the reason I bring ProPresenter up as one of those tools is ProPresenter 7 has so many features that are available, and overall the price is reasonable. Like I said, especially if you're in like for us in a church, we have different rooms, we have different things going on. We have people in our sanctuary, we have displays for our praise team on the backstage. With ProPresenter 7, we can actually configure all of those screens, displaying different information. We can be sending one thing out on our live stream broadcast, showing something else in the sanctuary, something else in our youth sanctuary. We can all do that all from one system. So we don't need 3 or 4 streaming systems to actually send that information. So that is one, like I said, it's a more expensive program, but for what it does for us, it's a good program. Because like I said, it gives us that ability to change not only the screens that we're showing, we can change the font. I can put lower thirds on our live stream, put full screen lyrics in our sanctuary, and I could have one person do that. You know, so it helped us to cut down on the number of volunteers we needed. The other thing about ProPresenter when it went to 7 is ProPresenter 7 can now be downloaded free for use as long as you have the watermark. The thing with that is, for us, like our praise team can put together their lyrics, create their slides, and all they have to do is send them to us. And then we don't have to worry about editing or anything. All we have to do is display them. Once we put it in our registered system, the watermark and everything goes away. So it helps take a lot of that additional work out of there. And for us, because we live stream 3 to 4 times a week, it's a time saver. So that's another one of the programs that we use. Now, as far as broadcasting, for those who will do or do broadcasting, we use Livestream Studio. It's a good program. I'm not going to go into a whole lot about it. Some of you may use the best alternative out there for that expensive program is OBS. Okay, OBS is actually called this Open Broadcaster software, and it is actually free. So if you're live streaming and you want to get the information out, but you don't have the budget for big software packages, said OBS is one. Live streaming, presentation, all can be done from within OBS. Of course, like I said, it's open source, so there's a lot of community support that you can actually get, tutorials, like I said, forums. There's a little learning curve, but of course, that's with any software that you're using. But for faith-based and nonprofits, like I said, OBS is a go-to, especially if you have a budget restraint. So that's another program that we have. I don't see any questions so far. Are there any questions?
Yes, there were some questions in the chat room, and I would like for you all to unmute yourself. Actually, use the raise your hand button so we don't talk over each other, so that you can ask James your question. Michael, are you raising your hand? Okay, I see Carol. Go ahead, Carol, please unmute yourself. Thank you.
Hi, thank you. Thank you for all the information. I missed the name of the PDF alternative, and if you had, because I know I've looked at using the TechSoup one, and that's still a lot for us for our congregation. Is the alternative cheaper than that, or about the same?
Uh, for what you would pay on TechSoup, it's about the same.
Okay. What was the name of it though?
The name of it is Nuance, Nuance,
Okay, thank you.
Power PDF.
Awesome. Anyone else have a question? James, this is amazing. I'm learning a lot. And I don't even have the business that you all have. Anybody else have a question for James? Awesome. You want to continue, James?
Yes, okay. Now, I was talking about kind of with broadcasting and live streaming, that type of stuff. Another program and suite of programs that's available is called NDI. It's Network Device Interface. And the reason I mentioned this one, NDI is not so much a software suite. It provides the network interface that allows for, say you have one computer, but you're trying to broadcast, maybe you have, you need to push something or receive something from a cell phone you may be using. Okay, NDI allows you to do wireless connections to NDI capable devices. Now, the thing is, with NDI capable devices, is any device that you can have hooked up to your network, wired or wireless. So you could actually be in one room. Instead of trying to run cabling to another room to display, you could actually do an NDI interface and send to that or receive from that. So that comes in handy sometimes if we have guest speakers, okay? We just do an NDI connection. That, like I said, it's got a lot of different tools that go with it, but the main thing is it gives you that ability. If you're, like I said, streaming, you can set up wireless cameras, bring that input directly into your system. And the big thing is you're not limited. Most of you, if you're doing physical, then the number of displays that you have available, display ports you have available on your system is the number of displays you can have, period. Using NDI, there's no limit. So when I was talking earlier about like using ProPresenter, I can send NDI information to display screens that I don't have. I have 4 outputs on my computer, but I'm sending to 7 different screens.
So James, Chris has his hand raised, and while he is getting ready to unmute himself, would you put your contact in the chat room? Because I imagine some people, you probably lost people with the NDI tech language, so so they can contact you. Chris, go ahead and ask your question or comment. Thank you.
Hi there. I was just curious about kind of I'm going back a little bit prior to the NDI. The question you talked about kind of what you were using to present, being ProPresenter, but I'm curious what your setup is in your space, in your worship space. How many cameras, how many screens, how many endpoints? You know, like we use Vimeo, but we also send to Facebook and to YouTube, and how you're accomplishing that with the technologies that you have available to you. And, you know, we're using a hardware rather than software. You said Livestream Studio, I think you're using. And so I'm just curious because I'm trying to improve our infrastructure.
Okay. Actually, that's a twofold answer. First, what the layout we have, we're using 3 camera inputs from our sanctuary. And then, like I said, I have 7 screen outputs. Actually 8, counting the foyer. And from those, we actually, for us, we use Livestream Studio, which is actually now a product of Vimeo. So when our endpoints are actually Vimeo and Facebook Live. We're adding YouTube, but we haven't started that one yet. So we're doing streaming to Vimeo and to Facebook Live with that. And that's where, like I said, that NDI, that's where it helps us because even from my broadcast or my media computer to my broadcast computer, I'm able to push lyrics over NDI. I can push graphics and I can push the camera feed. And I can do picture-in-picture and embeds with those. I hope that answers what you want. And we're using similar to what you have. So actually, if you want to drop me an email also, I can talk to you a little bit more about how we have those set up. Because we do use that, we use the software encoder with Vimeo, but we actually, one of the other things I was going to talk about was ATEM Mini, which is a hardware encoder that we were also using. So it can get a little convoluted. So like I said, I think probably for this one, unless there's a other specific thing you want me to answer, probably if you shoot me an email, we could probably connect and talk about it a little bit more.
Okay, thank you. You've actually hit exactly what I was looking for. I appreciate it.
Okay.
Well, I'm curious. I see a lot of people understanding they use OBS and some say it's super easy. Would anybody else like to share what you're using, what technology you're using to help you navigate? And maybe you weren't using it before the pandemic, but now you're using it and it's made such a difference to help you grow. Would anybody like to share? Go ahead, Carol.
Well, we use OBS because it was a free, option, and our ministry is very limited and budget-wise, especially. And even with that, we were able to put the money into the cameras and the microphones that we needed. So using the free option allowed us to do what we needed to do on the budget that we could live with. So that was really good for us. You have a lot of great options that you're presenting, and they're wonderful. But when you have a small congregation and not a lot of money coming in, you have to, do what you can. So I appreciate all the references and information.
Yeah, and I love that you shared that because I know there's a lot of small nonprofits here today where there's a small church. We would like to know what you're using, and if we don't have it, maybe we could get it at TechSoup. Daniel, go ahead and unmute yourself. Thank you for sharing, Carol.
Hi, at my church, we tried out OBS, but the computers we had were not powerful enough, so we had a lot of problems with OBS. So what we did is we went with a hardware solution, which is an ATEM Mini Pro, and that's a hardware device. We since then switched to ATEM Mini Extreme, and that provides up to 8 HDMI inputs. So you just have to have cameras that output HDMI. We had a computer that had Pro Presenter. We output it from there, and then you just switch back and forth. You can stream directly from there to YouTube, to Facebook, or some other platforms. And it also has a USB output. So if you do want to run it for OBS, you can do that too. But it's an actual hardware switcher. And then we just continue to still use our older computers that don't have to be super powerful, and everything just runs off of that device. And they're fairly affordable. They start, the Extreme is like $1,000. The ATEM Mini, the small one, starts at $300. So at $300, you can be able to stream online, and you just need an Ethernet connection for the internet.
Awesome. I love hearing all this. Now, were you streaming a lot before the pandemic?
No, we were not. But when the pandemic hit, our church had to switch. And at first we started using just an iPhone and on a tripod, but then audio was terrible. And then we looked for other solutions. So we tried different things and went with that.
I love it. Thanks for sharing. But you were making it work. I love it. Thanks for sharing. Anybody else want to share? Steve, go ahead. I see your hand raised.
And we started out at the beginning of the pandemic. We were creating a video, just recording it in the sanctuary with nobody else and piecing all the parts together. And then we started live streaming, and we started with OBS, and there's a learning curve there. But once you figure it out, it really makes it so easy. And as Chris mentioned, NDI, we have a separate computer that runs a PowerPoint that for our displays so that people can see the words and any videos. And we use NDI from that PowerPoint computer to get it into our stream and into our sanctuary. NDI is a really wonderful tool. When I found that, it made things so much easier.
Awesome. All you guys sound like such techies, and I'm like NDI. I'm right. You ought to see my notes. I got all kinds of notes. This is amazing. Thank you for sharing, Mr. Woods. So Elle Woods, I'm sorry. Go ahead and unmute yourself. Thank you
Good
for sharing.
afternoon. Okay, so I think this is great because I am not that tech person. And so I'm coming in, I want you to know I'm very vulnerable to this, okay? But we have used the Google Meets and the Google Classroom to offer all of our Bible study classes. Our Sunday school has continued in that format, in that space, since the pandemic started. It has worked wonderfully well. It has been my adults who have been the most challenging. But once we got them on, they do not want to go back. In fact, as we're discussing return to, they were like, well, can we stay here? So it has worked really well. What I'm looking for, though, is to take it to the next level. We are looking to expand. And so when I hear terms like NDI, acronyms like NDI, for example, I get a little lost, but I'm wondering if any of that can help us to do a better job to enhance what we're already doing in our Google space. We're planning our first Easter program, and it is going to be virtual, and we'd like to live stream. So I made a few notes. The kids are excited. We have a viewing room where the kids can go in and view it before we actually launch it. And so that's why I'm here today. So help me out. Take all that technology, terminology and language and make it a little bit common for me, please.
All right, there you go, James. The floor is all yours.
Okay,
And then I'll come to you, Jill.
so the NDI, Network Device Interface, basically, like I said, if you already have a network in your building, obviously. So you're taking a device that is NDI capable, and the website for NDI is ndi.tv. That has all the tools that you will use. With using the NDI, it would allow you to say what you're doing. You may have that going to your streaming computer, but like I said, with NDI, you can also push that out to that viewing room that you have, still sending it out to whatever platform you're streaming to. And if you have multiple rooms, like I said, as long as you, depending on the devices you have, if they're wireless or internet capable, you can hardwire or go Wi-Fi and actually send it to all those rooms. And you can configure that so that, like I said, you have that going to all your different rooms. The only limitation is what your main system and the software that you're using on your main system. But yeah, the NDI just makes it so that you don't have to run like a HDMI cable to everyone. Because if you're running 100-foot HDMI cables, and I've had to do that through the ceilings, it's a headache. NDI takes that requirement away. So as long as your device on the other end can connect to the network, you can bring those two together.
Okay, thank you. Jill,
Thank you.
please unmute yourself.
Thank you. I guess I should start my video too, and maybe you can see me. Sorry.
It's okay.
There we go. Hi, everybody. I'm from a
Hi.
very small church in Maine, and I also am a retired tech director from a prep school. So I used this solution first in the prep school, but when my church needed to start live streaming, we decided to use the Sling Studio. So the Sling Studio will do all of this for about $1,000. We use iPads to run the actual software, and we use iPhones in our church or outside. The Sling Studio has an input from your sound system, so you get really clean audio from it. You turn off the audio feeds from the cameras that are on the phones or whatever you're using. You can also use really pro level HDMI cameras with it, which we used to do at the prep school. But the best part of it is it also has a battery unit, so you can take this whole rig outside. And for the longest time, we could only have church outside. So we would just live stream from outside to our remote viewers, and everyone was outside and safe because they're breathing nice fresh air. Sling Studio is kind of hard to find only because so many schools and churches jumped on it. And so it's, with the supply chain, it's tough to get them. But if you keep an eye on sites looking for the Sling Studio, it's a really nice solution for the small church that has very limited tech expertise. Thank you.
That was powerful. Thank you. Thank you for sharing. That was a nugget right there. And I hope Gail is still here. Maybe she can grab that for us. It might take a while, but who knows? If Gail, are you here? I wanted you to unmute yourself and introduce yourself. And then while you're doing that, Chris had a question. This is for everybody. I have heard of two other recommendations, Teams or Google Meet, which are free. And he says, which one, I don't know if Chris is male or female, which one is better? So which one are you using, or are you using Zoom? Go ahead and put in the chat room for me which one are you using. Are you using Teams or Google Meet? If you're not using any, don't worry about putting anything in the chat room.
Hey, Aretha, I just hopped on, took myself off mute, and I'm on a wonky connection, so I'm going to just do voice. But I got to thank everybody. I'm filling pages of notes about things that I can go searching for. I just put the link into what I think is the correct link for Sling Studio. So Jill, thank you for that suggestion. But I'm in full transparency, I'm on the parish council for a church here in San Francisco. So we went through the same issues that you guys were facing. We ended up using a single camera, and Facebook as our primary conduit for getting out. And we're finding that the fascinating thing is during COVID that we reached far more people over a service than we did in just normal people walking in the door during normal days. So have you guys found that, where you have expanded your church community through electronics, or, what does that look like for you guys? Has it been an upside, downside? I'd love to hear how you guys are viewing this, since none of us asked to be doing this, but we're all in the middle of it. So I'd love your thoughts. And also continue to put notes in chat, or to keep telling Aretha about what else you guys need. I see some hands are raised, Aretha, so I'm going to shut up and let you go on talking to folks.
Thank you. Chris, you can unmute yourself, please. And then Gordon.
So I didn't use my video before, but I will now. I think it's coming through. But anyway, so it's been actually amazing for us, the response we've gotten through the COVID experience. While in-person numbers were down, we actually had a large increase of people joining the parish. I'm at a parish in Wisconsin, joining the parish actually from around the country. We continually have people who are from California, from DC, from Florida, from Maine, from a variety of places actually tuning in for our Sunday masses that are live streamed. We've actually had a few people join our parish, not just join the mass, but actually join the parish who are at a distance. And, one, one family actually bought a house here so they could join the parish, even though they live in California, which
Aw.
was odd, but pretty exciting. And I think, we can continually have, it may seem like a small number, but we continually have about 90 connections on Sunday, even though we're at full capacity in the church, and which is amazing to me, because generally we estimate that there are at least 2 people on each connection. And so it's actually been a really great boon for us to do this, and our outreach has been tremendous in this way. So oddly enough, it's been a great experience for us to move into the live stream experience.
Awesome. Thank you for sharing. I'm going to we're going to get back to James in a moment, but I'm going to let Gordon and Zena share, and then we'll get back to James if he has some more interesting tips to share with us. Gordon, please unmute yourself. Thank you.
Yes, we've found that Zoom has several advantages over other situations. For people who only have a telephone, they can call in to Zoom and various phone segments throughout the country and listen to the service. And so that has been very helpful for people who have no technology but still want to be connected. Now, I also say that we've had members from around the country that wanted to join us, people who've moved out of the area, and being able to connect with the congregation that they were familiar with was very helpful. The numbers at the moment with the hybrid is about half and half in physical worship and half away. Of course, we have people who are bedridden, who find that the able to connect by a computer has been a real help for those who cannot physically get to where we are. And so that aspect is astounding. It's very clear that if this pandemic had happened 10 years ago, before we had computers and laptops and things like this so readily available, life would have been very, very different.
I agree. I agree.
The advantage we find with Zoom is that with no cost to individuals, wherever you can pick up a signal, you can add another screen. And that seemed to be very, very helpful compared to some of the other technology where you had to either wire or pay some real money. So I think Zoom has been the real savior of the faith community during this time. Thank you.
Thank you. Very powerful statements. Hi, Zena.
Hi, hello, and thank you so much for the opportunity to ask my question. And I think that this question really is for James. It is, have you found a need for a streaming platform? I'm looking at different streaming platforms. I don't know which is going to work best for our ministry, but I'm out there and I'm looking specifically for the hybrid, Hopin or Hubilo or any of those. Anyone?
Well, as far as streaming platforms, yeah, there's a number. Now, when you say streaming platform, you're talking about what you're streaming from or what you're streaming to?
I'm actually talking about what I'm streaming through.
Okay.
So, we can be here where you are, how Zoom does.
Right.
Through, what's the vehicle that we're using to get to our community where the online virtual world can communicate at the same time as the in-person?
Okay. A couple of them that we've talked about. OBS is the open source one, free version platform. For us, we use Livestream Studio. And as somebody mentioned earlier, and I was going to mention later, ATEM, the ATEM line of products ATM Mini, Extreme, all of those actually allow you to live stream through them. So you can actually get a ATM Mini for a couple $100 and gives you those video inputs and that output to do your live stream.
Awesome, James.
I'll be quiet after this, Ms. Simmons.
Go ahead.
ATM is Alpha Tango.
Echo Mike.
Okay.
Alpha Tango Echo Mike.
Thank you.
Yeah, thank you for that question. So James, what would be some of the takeaways that you want to leave people with today? The topic was how to help your nonprofit grow. So, or the technology you're using to grow. So what are some of the keys or tools you would recommend that they either maybe not purchase right now, but even look into?
Again, I'd go back again, of course, with Microsoft 365. That gives you a lot of flexibility, even some video capability, that collaboration capability. They're all built into it. So you're getting all those capabilities with one product. Another one that, of course, OBS said for a free version that can give you all the bells and whistles you're looking for. I saw some comments about editing as well. One product I would throw out for video editing is DaVinci Resolve. It's DaVinci Resolve. It's actually with the same company that does the ATEM products. And I know it throws some people off, but the website is blackmagicdesign.com. So.
And what's special about their editing that's not already an editing software on the computer?
It's free.
Ooh, so you're saying
it is free and it is compatible with Final Cut Pro.
Okay, so Final Cut Pro is on
a high-end editing program.
Love it. Thank you.
And like I said, but it's free. So that's one. Like I said, if you're doing your own video editing, I would highly recommend that. Another product for those who are trying to connect people, especially with audio, even though now they have some video capability with it, is called Free Conference Call HD. First of all, as the name says, it's free. People can call into that. We use that for our prayer line. So people can just connect to that. You have features where you can go in and have a host and set up and mute and do all that, but you don't have to do that. You set up a time, people can call in, they have that interaction. And like I said, with the product, you do have the capability of doing with a single presenter. You can also do video. So these are products that are budget friendly. And then for some of them that we're talking about audio editing, quick edits, cut, that kind of stuff. Audacity is a good program, also a free program for your audio editing. And then a last takeaway that I would say for products, it's not free, but there's a program called Ministry Grid. Ministry Grid is for training, okay? Instead of recreating the wheel, trying to create all of your training programs, it covered, when COVID hit, they actually created a whole segment on how to deal with your congregation and everything during that time. But it covers everything from youth ministry, your deacon boards, your praise teams. It has all the training from your basic volunteers up to your department heads, and even training for up to senior pastors. All of it in one place. I think we pay it like $400 a year, but if you are responsible for training people, you know what that takes, okay? Discipleship training, all of those things are already there. and you can actually tweak these, put your own videos in them, put your own files in them. So it has all the tools. It lets you bring all that together without having to start from scratch. And so those, like I said, those are the big things. The biggest thing I'd say, community. It doesn't have to always be just churches or faith-based. Reconnect with the people in your community. There's a lot of companies that'll say, hey, they'll give you network advice. Someone will consult. Some of them are in your church. So just connect with them and connect with churches, connect with one another. Some of our best resources is other churches down the street. Their people came over and helped us train on our audio board. We went over and helped them train on ProPresenter. So those would be my takeaways that I hope that, like I said, for what you need to make it in the ministry is, one, the community, and then look for the tools. They're out there. Those that I gave, free, a lot of times is good. And like I said, with most of the things that we talked about, there are also forums, community sites to also provide you with some assistance. So.
Well, thank you, James. This has been an education for me. I don't know about you all. I wrote down a lot of notes, got a lot of takeaways. Yes. Let's say thank you to James for spending his time. I know you're busy. He's working with a lot of ministries and collaborating with a lot of ministries. I've talked to him back and forth, trying to get him to speak because he comes to our webinars and always give us good advice, good tips. In fact, he is the one that said, TechSoup offers products, but people need to understand how to use them. So we're going to really try to do more how-to webinars, and the webinars are all free. So again, James, put your information in the chat room. If anybody want to reach out to James, feel free to do that. Anybody have any questions, any comments before we leave? Feel free to unmute yourself. I'm going to give you an open floor. All right. Gail, thank you so much. Andrew, thank you so much for being
Yes, how are you? How are you doing?
Okay, go ahead.
Yes, this is Pastor Isaac. I joined late, I think because of the time difference. I didn't get the time differentials properly. I'd like to connect. I don't know if the program was recorded, so that I can listen through it and make my questions, put my questions together. Is that possible, please?
Yes, it is recorded. I'm not sure if somebody shared the link, or if you registered for it, you will get the recording within 48 hours.
Okay, that's fine. I'll be expecting the link then.
All right. Thank
Thank
you.
you very much. Thank you.
Okay, be safe.
Thank
And
you.
everybody else, as you're out there serving the community, you also be safe. Oh, I saw somebody raise a hand. Go ahead, Ms. Zena.
Okay, so Miss Aretha, this is really, really a quick question. Two things. Shoot, I forgot my question now. That's senior age. Please, y'all forgive me. The first question is, how do we recommend to TechSoup to expand the things that they offer discounts for? Because we've heard.
Aretha, I can answer that one.
Yes, ma'am. Yes,
Hey,
ma'am.
Gina, I just put it in chat. There is a part of TechSoup in our forums called the Technology Wish List, which I moderate. And so whatever you got, I can't guarantee you diddly boo about who I can bring on board, but I've been doing this since 2001. So, pretty much every company you see on the site are people that I had the privilege of working with and either taking their programs to support nonprofits or convincing them from zero to create new ones. So, for example, like Mevo that you've mentioned, C. James, is part of Logitech, who I'm currently in conversations with. So I'm going to make sure that they're very much aware that this is a powerhouse for the community. But anybody else, just go to chat. There's a link to the technology wish list on the TechSoup forums. And if you put something in there, it will go to me automatically. And I just appreciate your insights, guys, and the good work you're doing. So thank you so much for letting me be part of the webinar today, Aretha.
No, thank you, Gail. I appreciate it. I see Zonette, your hand is raised. Hi.
Hi, everybody. God bless you all. I just have a quick question. I'm an upstart.
for the most part. I'm a singular person. I'm an advocate that's, just really trying to get it off the ground. And that prohibits me to a certain extent from really becoming a part of TechSoup, because you have to have so many people and this and this and that. And I'm like, is there another program that would allow for people that are just starting out?
Okay, let me back up. You're just starting out a church. You're saying you don't have your
No, I
501c.
just maybe this is the wrong form, but just overall, when you go to apply to become a member of TechSoup so that you can get the products and
Right.
everything like that. I don't think that I meet the qualifications, and I don't know.
So you don't have your 501c3 yet. That's what you're saying?
I don't think I have the number of people. I don't think it's for people with.
It's
No,
not
it,
about the number of people.
yeah,
okay.
people doesn't matters on it. As long as you are a valid 501c3,
Okay. Awesome.
and you can supply that information, we will want to know about your mission. We want to be able to confirm that. We'll want to make sure that the organization is in good standing.
Right.
We want to make sure whoever's starting the account is somebody that your organization knows, agent
Okay.
verification.
Okay.
So fill out the form, and I didn't say this, so pretend you didn't hear me say it, but if you put in your application and put something in your in cart, that tends to bump you to the top of the list to be validated. So, just insider information. But at any rate, guys,
Thank you.
so as long as you're a valid 501c3 or a library in the US, you can apply, be qualified. You may not qualify for everything because all the program rules are a little bit different, but feel free, and we're here to give you resources. And again, look for the link on the chat to the technology wish list form so I can know what else I should be looking for to help you guys.
Thank you guys so much. Appreciate you.
Awesome. Thank you all. Thank you all for what you do. As you're taking care of the world, make sure you take time to take care of yourself. Thank you, James. I appreciate you. Thank you, everybody. Bye-bye.